Today's presentation will be on how to make microwavable bowl cozies. Overview. Now you may be wondering, what is a microwavable bowl cozy? Microwavable bowl cozies go in a microwave with bowls in them, so you can safely remove a hot dish without having to maneuver a pot holder around an awkwardly sized hot bowl. This project requires intermediate sewing skills in about an hour. You can sew just one or a whole stack in colors and patterns that fit your style. Introduction. The purpose of this presentation is to provide you with the information needed to make microwavable bowl cozies. This presentation covers the following: a 10-inch by 10-inch square bowl cozy, 12-inch by 12-inch square bowl cozy, and a 14-inch by 14-inch square bowl cozy. Learning objective. After completing this presentation, you will be able to make different size microwavable bowl cozies. Preparation. You will need to use 100% cotton for the fabric, batting, and thread. If you do not use 100% cotton, you run the risk of the fabric or thread catching fire in the microwave. As with all projects, it is important to prepare your fabric. Wash, dry, and press your cotton fabric. Sometimes I'm tempted to skip this step, but with this microwavable bowl cozy being around food, it's likely to need to be tossed in the washer, and you risk your fabric shrinking if you don't wash and dry it first before sewing it together. Pressing the fabric makes it not only look nicer, but easier to work with. The supplies needed for completing this project include 100% cotton fabric, batting, and thread, rotary cutter, mat and scissors, sewing pins or clips, iron, ironing board, sewing machine, ruler and pen, cardboard, eyelet tool, or punching tool. Make a template. A template isn't a necessity, especially if you're only making one or two bowl cozies, but if you plan to make several, the template will save you time making each piece. Cut out a square from cardboard for the size of bowl cozy you'll be making. Rotary tools are helpful to make perfect squares. On each side of the square, make the following markings. For a 10-inch square, mark 4, 5, and 6 inches from the ends on each side and mark 2 1/4 inches towards the center of the square at the center 5-inch mark. For a 12-inch square, mark 5, 6, and 7 inches from the ends on each side and mark 2 1/2 inches toward the center 6-inch mark. For a 14-inch square, mark 6, 7, and 8 inches from the ends on each side and mark 2 3/4 inches toward the center 7-inch mark. Now use an eyelet or another punching tool to punch the marks you made on the square template, with the edge marking holes about 1/4 inch from the edge. Cut and mark the pieces. For each bowl cozy, you'll need to cut out 2 fabric squares and 2 batting squares. Use rotary cutting tools for accuracy. Stack light colors together so you can change your sewing machine thread color as infrequently as possible. On each square of batting, transfer markings from your template. Place the template on top of a batting square, aligning all edges. Use a fine tip marker that is close to the color fabric you're using, a vanishing ink fabric marker, or tailor's chalk. Place the tip of the fabric marking tool through each hole on the template, marking the batting in the process. Continue through the pile of batting squares until they are all marked. Quilt the layers. Center batting on the wrong side of the fabric and pin. Mark lines from corner and from center edge to the center of opposite edge. Sew along these lines to join batting and fabric. Darts. To create each dart, do the following. Fold the sewed square in half with right sides together. Use a ruler and pen to make marks for each dart. Stitch along the mark line and backstitch for each dart. Trim the excess fabric and batting for each dart. Join the pieces together. Place one piece inside the other, right sides of the fabric together, aligning the dart seams and pin. Sew the pieces together. Using a 1/4 inch seam allowance, stitch the 2 layers together, leaving a 3-inch opening on one side for turning. Make sure this opening is not on a corner because it will be harder to close it later. When you piece these two layers together, make sure your darts are alternating direction to eliminate bulk. Also, when you are stitching around the corners, do not pivot sharply, but take an extra stitch or two on the angle to round the corner. Trim the corners. Next, trim off the corners, making sure not to cut through your stitches. Turn right side out. Through the opening you left, turn the bowl cozy right side out, push out the corners, and press each side with an iron. Top stitch around edge. Top stitch around the edge about 1/8 inch from the edge, reversing at the start and stop of the seam. This will close the 3-inch gap you left. Knowledge check. What type of material is necessary for making microwavable cozies? A. 100% cotton. B. Polyester. C. Metallic. D. Silk. Knowledge check answer. The correct answer is A. 100% cotton. You must use 100% cotton for all materials including fabric, thread, and batting. Summary. Congratulations, you have completed this presentation. You should now be able to make different size microwavable bowl cozies. This presentation covered the following: 10-inch by 10-inch square bowl cozy, 12-inch by 12-inch square bowl cozy, 14-inch by 14-inch square bowl cozy. Any questions?